And now we want to take that kind of to the next level and show you how to use the pack properly. Maybe that's not the right word, but how we devised it to be used optimally, which is all about combining the microphones in the same way that you would on a real studio session. So having these profiles behave like the incoming mic feeds from a real mic'd up cabinet in a studio. So here we go. I'm going to play you just a quick snippet here. Then we're going to deconstruct it and go through it piece by piece and build it back up. So the profile that you're hearing is a profile of my JMP preamp here in the studio, running through an EL34 power amp and going into, obviously, the Greenback. There you go, get the idea. I'm going to break this down for you. And we're going to start first by just kind of turning off everything and building it up from the very basic stuff. So we talk about the Quantum Speaker Pack here. So in this case, we're going to be referencing the mics in the pack that are used to create this sound and the profiles that we're using to do that job. So first off, we've got the center position condenser mic. So we're going to just play you here quickly a little bit of this mic on its own. So this is just, check that's the only thing on. But this is condenser 1 from the Quantum Pack. And its position is cap edge, which is its sort of centralized. So I don't know where that riff came from. So that's, you can hear the bright part of the sound. What I'm going to do now is play you the other condenser, which is actually the same microphone type in this case. And this is the technique that they described using on this album. And this one is over the cone. So again, trying to pick up as much as possible of this part of the sound, which is the deep kind of, it's not bassy, but it's much warmer, much more dark sounding, and it's got less of the cap in it. So same thing here. I'm just going to play you a tiny bit of it so you can hear it on its own. Yeah. I'm just going to switch now as well quickly between the two. So first, this is the bright one, and now the darker one. So yeah, there's a big difference, but it's sort of the two halves, if you like, of the sound. So the positioning, the whole point of building the pack up the way that we have is, sure, you can have every position, but in theory, if your phase is well managed, having the two halves of the sound and balancing those against each other is exactly the same as being able to move it from one to the other, right? Yeah. You use two mics to do it instead of one, but it allows you to then, by the blend of those two, create exactly the amount of bright and warm that you want in the sound. So that's what we're doing here. It's relatively simple, in fact, in this case, because they're both the same volume. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly play the exact same thing I just did again, the bright one, then the dark one, but then both together, so you can hear how they combine then as well. So first your bright mic, and the dark mic, and now both together. Yeah, so you get the brightness, the clarity, the fullness of the cone area as well, and the two together then give you your blend. Now, obviously, if you want to, you can change that balance. So if I turn the bright one down in here, go further towards the rounder sound, and equally I can turn down the cone. So you can see, because they've got very well managed phase, it doesn't get weird as you turn one of them up. It just kind of brings in that character and allows you to blend them together. So in that respect, much like you would do when you're designing a recording session, well, I would do anyway, these are the kind of tools that you would need to be able to come back at any point later after the recording session and reblend and get a different match if you need it, without having to have moved the speaker or the microphone at the point of recording. We've got everything we need here from this mic to get everything that it picks up from the middle to the outer edge of the speaker. So there is another mic here. In fact, there's two more. So we'll quickly just look at those as well. First on their own, and then we can bring them in along with the other two. So the first of them is a room. So if we just have a listen to this on its own, you can hear it even more. Turn it on again. It's just taking the sort of top end bright stuff off and the low rumble out of there. So the reason for that is that your ribbon mics can pick up quite a lot of low bass, and we have another mic here, which is not a mic. It's in fact our special tactile transducer, the neutron sub, which is taking care of all the low end that we could possibly need. So we kind of explained this in the first video, but the neutron sub is a transduction device that will turn the low frequency vibration inside the cabinet directly into audio to be recorded. So it's not a microphone. It turns the physical movement vibrations into sound and then is recorded directly from the source. So you've got perfect representation of the frequencies being created by the speaker. So you can hear this as well on its own. This is very strange. It's kind of well. So that's the sub, and it's doing its low end thing. What might be fun to hear, actually, is if I just play you the two mics with the room off, and then we'll bring the sub in. And turn it on. Turn it off again. Size, right? And the other thing that will give a sense of size is the room. So I'm going to turn the room on now. So just for your memory, so not massively loud, but it's there. Play with the room off. You turn it on. This is really important. Early reflections. So what's happening with the room sound is that it's not like reverb. It's not supposed to be either a substitute for or a kind of even the same thing as reverb. Early reflections are a different thing entirely. They signal to your brain that the position and the volume of the sound in the space that you're standing in. So if you don't include early reflections in the sound, it's going to sound unnatural, because that is completely unnatural, like any loud noise. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly show you there's a reverb that was on the sound originally at the beginning. So you can hear that. It's just a nice studio reverb with everything in. There we go. Hopefully, having built that up from the beginning, you can see what makes up that sound. Quite interesting.